box wine and Catland.
I came up with a new name, Incomp Corp.
Incomp Corp. So this is the Department of Education clearing people out. Let's make this bigger like that, and let's.
All right, now hang on. Before you start this,
what
you're going to see here, the Department of Education is really a cat lady daycare.
It is. It's cat lady daycare. That's a good description. Wait until you see what comes out of these doors. I was watching this. I'm like, this explains everything. Literally explains everything.
Employees for the Department of Education today were given just 30 minutes to return to their office for one last time and pack up all of their things. The employees were given carts like these to wheel out their belongings. We saw countless employees also with suitcases and boxes carrying out their remaining belongings, and many of them streaming out of this office behind me with tears coming down their face. Now, they were greeted with a small...
So what is... But we're how many seconds in here? Like 45 seconds in. And what did you see?
I saw a bunch of basically simstitutes and cat ladies walking out of the building. Some of them look like they had luggage. Now, if you're just given 30 minutes, do you show up with a suitcase with wheels?
They might have brought that with them to clear their stuff out. Yep. I'm sure there were a couple of wet bars in the office.
Yeah.
And at least one of them probably had a small refrigerator full of Hot Pockets.
I really can't argue with you there.
So let's see what else we got here. This fortunately is if it's
whole crowd of colleagues,
everyone deserves quality education.
Who wanted to show their support in this heavy moment. And many employees we talked to expressed that they're worried not only for themselves and their future, but certainly for the nation's students.
Really?
I feel devastated. You know, I've been working at the department for 35 years, come March the 26th.
And that explains a whole hell of a lot right there. That
35 years.
I've been there 35 years. I barely speak English.
All right, hang on.
Right.
So these people, they're federal employees, right?
Yeah. She worried about the children.
All right.
She worried about the children.
I'm looking up GS level pay.
She's probably a 13 or a 14.
All right. Okay. She said 35 years.
Uh-huh.
All right.
She's probably a GS 13 or 14. They start at 9 and it goes in steps.
Yes, I know.
Okay.
I'm looking for that actual wage. Like they have a wage calculator, just like they do in the Army.
Yeah. Yep, yeah, absolutely do. It's a special bonus feature for our viewers tonight. Not only are you going to learn about the education, box wine, and cat ladies, but you're also going to learn about the federal pay scale. So this is a bonus feature only for viewers that are here live tonight.
I'm looking for the pay scale. GS, let me do GS.
You look that up. I'm going to keep going here.
Right. And I feel that I was pushed out to retire. And it feels devastating to me, you know, coming here and packing up my bags, and not knowing when I'm going to get a next paycheck. It's devastating.
And what exactly did this lady do?
All right. So if they start at GS level 9, they start off at $25.60 an hour. And if they cap out at GS 13, they start out at $42.41. So if she's been in 35 years, she's probably at a GS level step 7 or 8. So she's probably pulling down $120,000 to $150,000 a year. Now
you could hear her last remark there. Her last remark was, "I don't know when I'm going to get my next paycheck." So
I'm sorry, but this is the way it works. All right. If she's been there for 35 years, she's vested, she's going to get a pension.
Right. We're going to pay this thing for the rest of its life to drink box wine and worry over its cats.
And more than likely, if she's pulling down $150K large, they retire at 50% pay. So she's looking at $75,000 for the rest of her life. That's without Social Security.
Fortunately for the general public, that particular individual is definitely in the box wine / diabetes community. And we won't be paying that for very long because heart disease will do what it does in that community.
Well, as a betting man, I would put money on not making it to 78.
I would put her at about 72.
72? All right. Well,
she looks like she has bad decisions in her daily life.
Yeah, but here's the thing. Back in the day, when you worked for the government, either state or federal, you were expected not to make as much as your peers, but you had security. So you were trading one for another.
Yes.
Now they make more money than the public sector, and they get the security on top of that without even having any demonstrable metrics of success.
They could not, for example, compete in the civilian world in their same job against somebody who was their peer.
Correct. They can't.
It's daycare. It is daycare for government workers. That's all it is. And the Department of Education is particularly heinous. Let's move on to our next short video because a lot of these are fun. This one's 1 minute.
Well, as we know, the Department of Education here in Washington, D.C.
is
overwhelmingly staffed by radical left Marxist bureaucrats who are in every way hostile to Western civilization, hostile to American interests, and hostile to our founding documents and culture. And so they are using their position and influence inside the Department of Education to try to force agendas like radical gender ideology, like critical race theory, like diversity, equity, and
now I know all of this to be absolutely true because I have two sisters. One was a junior high / high school level teacher. The other one is a university teacher who teaches in a master's level program. They're both this way. Both of them make no apologies for the way that they are. Both of them think that all of this stuff that he said here is the most important thing in the world. One of them will absolutely lose her mind and physically attack you if you dare to question CRT or DEI or the trans agenda. I mean, she's Looney Tunes. This is my own sister. My other sister who is, hang on 1 second.
Okay.
My other sister, she is very intelligent. She speaks a couple of languages. She's teaching at a master's level. She actually teaches business English, but she has accepted dumbed down students to the point where I said she's teaching in a master's program, right? She has to teach many of her students to read at above a 6th grade level. Now, I'm hand drafting my daughter's diploma for her graduation, and I'm doing it all in old English letters. My sister sees this and she says, "Oh, the kid, nobody will be able to read that. You have to write it in just like block letters." I'm like, that's not my problem. Diplomas have always been done this way. I'm doing her a traditional diploma. If somebody else can't read it, how the fuck is that my problem? Also, step your game up because you should be able to read that stuff. It's part of our culture. It's part of our tradition. A diploma is a thing.
So your sister's I&I?
I beg your pardon?
I&I, intelligent and ignorant at the same time.
Correct. Yes. And she supports the ignorance of her own students and has just written everybody off as everybody's going to come out of high school ignorant. So we might as well just deal with it. And she calls them digital natives and expects no actual reading ability or writing ability from them.
Wow.
And she's teaching at a prestigious university at a master's level, teaching business English. Okay, carry on.
Sorry. So I&I. Intelligent and ignorant at the same time.
That's correct.
And a lot of this is because of credentialism.
Yes, it is all credentialism.
Yeah, you think because you get the next credential, you're going to become smarter and more gifted. All right.
Right. The more shit you have on your I love me wall, the more intelligent you obviously are. That is literally the logic that they're applying here.
Mm-hmm.
It's the scene from the old Wizard of Oz. where the professor, the wizard, presents the Tin Man with, or who gets the brains?
That was the Scarecrow guy.
The Scarecrow presents him with a diploma, and all of a sudden the Scarecrow can recite all of this stuff off the top of his head. It's the exact same logic.
Correct.
It's precisely the same logic. And it's just nerve-wracking and incredibly frustrating, to the point where I am actually considering going to a local library and teaching cursive and seeing if I can get some bites on that, because I actually have heard people in daily life complaining that nobody could read or write cursive anymore at all. It's gone.
I can write my name.
Mhm.
I can't really read it because I have dyslexia.
Mhm.
But I mean, I got through cursive. I got a passing grade with dyslexia when I was in grade school, because cursive writing was pretty much done for me by the time I got to 10th or 11th grade in high school.
Okay, so this is just me preparing to do my daughter's diploma. Okay, this is some of the work that I've been doing. That's all done by hand. That's just learning that stuff. You're just a mutant. You've always been a mutant. You could do that stuff if you really put your mind to it. For Christ's sake, you passed SF, you passed Ranger. Oh my! I think it's just a case of Pop's lizard brain really doesn't want to.
And I've written 4 books.
And yeah, exactly. I'm illiterate and I don't know how to write, but would you like to buy one of my books that I wrote?
Listen, I figured it out on my own after the fact.
Pop's lizard brain is a bullshit excuse factory.
I gotta write that down. Bullshit excuse factory.
Because you can do all these things. I've seen you do them. You just it doesn't improve your current process of anything, so you just don't do it. That's all it is.
Fair enough. You're right, I guess.
I do the same thing. I'm crap with mechanics and math. I can't do any of that stuff. I probably could if I applied myself at all to any reasonable degree.
Well, the big thing that changed me is once I was in college and I got my hands on a 486 computer that had Microsoft Office on it.
Oh yeah,
So
state of the art 486. Yeah.
If I misspelled it, I had a red line.
Oh
If there was like a better word idea, you got like a blue or a green line.
yeah.
And that changed everything. It was like the invention of the 45 caliber pistol for the small guy, the ultimate equalizer.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. No, I see exactly what you're saying. I was always that weird kid with languages. I was a kid who would skip school to go to the library and read medieval manuscripts.
Well, I mean, it's good to have a hobby. What can I say?
mean, everybody's got their thing, man.
Watch Grunt Speak live every Tuesday and Thursday at 8 p.m. Eastern. And if you want to join Pop for Supporter Sundays, go to redonkulous.com/donate and make a monthly pledge. A link is in the meat caser box.